Good morning. Welcome to Speaking of Animals. I'm Amy Cartenuto from Flagler Humane Society, here today with one of the Humane Society's bestest friends.
I paid her to say that.
Jeff Jacobs, better known as Cat Daddy Jeff. Hello, Jeff.
Hi there, Amy.
Hey, Cat Daddy Jeff.
Thanks for having me here.
Yeah, thank you for being here. I know we're gonna talk about a lot of cats today, and what got you started helping us at the shelter, and how many cats you've helped us with. Like
the never-ending flow.
So many. And before we talk to you, we have to get to the real stars of the show.
Absolutely.
Do you want to introduce our co-hosts today?
Yes. These three gorgeous kittens are Ladybug, the gray tabby, and the brown tabby is her brother, Indigo. And then the third tabby with the white paws is not from the same litter, though he does look like that, and he's about a week younger. And that is Ian, but I'm calling him Sir Ian, and I also was calling him Survivor because he's a survivor, and we'll get to his story in a little bit.
Yeah. Well, so Jeff, I know your background. You tried to retire, but the cats aren't quite letting you retire. But you used to be in trucking?
Yeah. Well, for most of my life, I was in trucking. And then I became a produce broker for trucks. And then when the market kind of fell out, I took a job where I work remotely. And everything, I'm going to just pause there and say everything happens for a reason.
For sure.
And we'll get into that when we're talking more about Flagler Humane Society and where we want to focus with people. But everything does happen for a reason. So the job I took, it actually affords me to carry on with my passion for the cats because I work remotely from home. So I'm still doing a 40-hour week, but I do that over a 4-day period in my third bedroom. So I'm not commuting. I couldn't do it. I'm going to be getting so close to a geezer status or more than what I am right now in 7 days or 8 days. But anyway, I never expected 7 decades that I would still be working.
Well, somebody's got to pay for these cats, right?
Well, that's it. So technically, I consider the cats my retirement. Even though I'm still working, they are my retirement. I took my Social Security just because it goes to the cats. And, it allows me to continue with this passion, as well as Flagler Humane, working in conjunction with me with a shameless shout out to my rescue, Toby's Paws of Anarchy. That is an association with Flagler Humane Society. And I couldn't do what I do with the TNR, the trapping, reuniting lost and stray cats with their owners, fostering. It's all through Flagler Humane, and I'm so thankful for that. I do also want to thank you and every staff member at Flagler Humane Society because, on social media, once something gets put out there for anyone's personal agenda, and we're not going to go into any of that beyond, I've never worked, and I've worked with a lot of rescues, even some local cat rescues, with more compassionate, caring people that try their hardest to save every animal. They never euthanize, and we can get into Fergus. Don't let me forget about that at some point. They never euthanize a healthy animal. In fact, they do everything they can to avoid having to do that to sickly animals unless it's the most compassionate, humane thing to do. I can't stress that enough. So it's just a wonderful group to be associated with.
Thank you. Yeah, we definitely do our best. We're not perfect, but, a responsible organization is forced to euthanize when it's like a public safety issue or an issue with animal suffering. So, yeah, but we do try, and we got a whole lot of babies, a whole lot of adult cats, we got a whole lot right now.
The hoarding situation really brought in a lot.
Yeah, the 98 cats coming from one household. I think it was less than 3 weeks ago, right about 3 weeks ago now.
I have
98 from one house. Yeah, you have a couple of them at home temporarily. Some of them are already getting adopted. They're gorgeous cats, just beautiful, beautiful cats. So, and we will mention later on, a special event that we're going to have
absolutely
for those kitty cats.
The timing couldn't be better.
Yeah, 98 cats coming from one house on one day. And really that, people have said 98 cats from one house, but that wasn't the only thing that happened that day. We got in eight cats from another organization.
And then Eric.
Locally, we got in.
Eric passing away. He had 30 cats, so some of his cats
Yeah,
more
that
from
had,
Community
yeah,
Cats. So
that-
Jessica took a couple, but
yeah. And that had happened just a few days before all those cats. And I think we got in 2 litters of puppies on the same day that we got in the 98 cats. So it's, it's definitely busy work. We don't sit around eating bonbons and watching soap operas on our,
I do that when I go home after being there with it.
yeah. But yeah, it's the shelter's definitely a busy place. We always, we also have veterinary services that we provide for owners that, could use a little financial help. So we're actually doing, we do the vaccine clinics and appointments and all kinds of stuff.
What you do is wonderful too, because the
Thank you.
discounted rates also, there are people my age, and I know I don't look 25, but there are people my age that literally, they love their pets, their animals like anybody else, but they can't afford that. I understand why the vets have to charge, especially the ones that are corporate owned. They have a certain pricing schedule, but it's beyond the means, especially nowadays in these times of some. So Flagler Humane does wonders.
Yeah, even if we can just help people temporarily, like you say, like we don't want to take anything away from the veterinarians. We've got some amazing vet hospitals locally and other ones that I know from surrounding areas. We've really got great veterinary hospitals that a lot of times help us too. They help us provide the best care.
If I can,
Sure.
I interrupt all the
Go
time.
ahead.
I apologize. But along those lines, I have one of my cats, Fritz, was brought to me, and it's no exaggeration. Everybody that was involved at Flagler Humane knew he was literally an hour away from death. He was a big tomcat. He had been fighting, and it was when it was still cold out a few years ago, hypothermia, stomatitis. He wasn't able to eat. He didn't want to anyway. He had such infections. But again, I'm taking up too much time with that. Point being, we didn't expect him to survive the night, but he did. And Heather from your staff, Vet Tech, who I love to death, was taking care of him that night, and he responded to antibiotics. And so the next day, she made it a point to call me and tell me, that he survived. So to your point, what you were saying with the animal hospitals that are affiliated with you, and there are several that are great here. I happen to go to Flagler Animal Hospital, and I love everyone over there too, and they're fantastic.
Yes.
So I asked discounted dental surgery scheduled at Flagler Humane, and the day that it was going to be Dr. Frank, it was Dr. Carlos. And so I paid a nominal. You put it down a deposit to reserve a space. I mean, we knew this was going to be involved. It could be about $1,000. So I think it was a couple of $100, $300, whatever. But I got a call, and Dr. Carlos looked and saw how intense the surgery was that was required, because he had jaw damage and the gum damage. Anyway, so they didn't do it. So that weekend, I'm sitting there going, oh, my God, because I spoke to my friends at Flagler Animal Hospital, hey, listen, we're going to have to schedule dental, and they're going, yeah, it could be about $2,600. And I, that's why God created credit cards, and that's why I don't retire.
Yeah.
So anyway, it is what it is. Here's the part of the story, again, telling you all out there in listening land how wonderful Flagler Humane Society is, and never to ever doubt bringing an animal there. I got a call from the director who I knew at Flagler Animal Hospital, who spoke to you. And this was all, I didn't know any of this, and I didn't solicit it, and I'm not used to people doing things for me that I would do for them, or for the animals, more importantly. And she said that she spoke to you because they donate 2 surgeries a month, to Flagler Humane for animals in need. And they donated, the 2 of them discussed donating the dental surgery with Danny Morosco did that, who she's awesome ER vet. I love her.
Superhuman.
Yeah. And it was a very intense surgery. I mean, grinding down into the bone of the jaw besides the gums. And, anyway, he was a bag of bones when I got him. So they absorbed the costs, and it didn't cost me and Fritz anything. And Fritz now, when people see him, Heather saw him the other day and goes, oh, my God, he was a bag of bones. He's now 19 pounds when I brought him into the vet, because he pushes everybody else out of the way when they're eating their food. So that's just another story of, how you were involved with the animal hospitals and how it assisted me. And that's for other people, too. They're all selfless. It's it's heartwarming.
And Fritz is fat and happy now.
Yes, he is, just like his dad.
Well, all right. So we're going to go to a break, and we will come right back and talk about more cats. Welcome back. And so, Cat Daddy Jeff,
And that's
tell us how you got that nickname.
I'm going to tell you that too. And I'm going to also say that's not a moniker that I take as derogatory. You know, some people go when they hear, crazy cat lady. Yeah. And if they call me a crazy cat lady, you know, hey, I'm fine with that. You know, crazy. I've been called a lot worse and deservedly so, but we're not going to waste the time here about that. So
another show.
I've been caring for cats for a while. My second or third fiance.
How many fiancés have you had?
The list is long and distinguished. Before,
again, another show.
Yeah, you need a whole nother show. It's before I realized, hey, you know what? It's probably me. I've been feral too long.
Yeah.
So, anyway, I had, it was Paws of Anarchy then, before I had the bottle baby Toby, that you, even on Mother's Day, I call you at 6, I text you at 6 in the morning. And Amy texted me right back because there were issues. He wasn't doing well. And 2-week-old babies, you know, it's a 50-50 shot whether they're going to survive or not anyway. But, of course, we tried everything. But it broke my heart. He was just, you know. Anyway, so I renamed it Toby's Paws of Anarchy now. But it was Paws of Anarchy. And I had friends that were, you know, donating food, litter, things like that at the time. So I get a box from Amazon. And it was addressed to Cat Daddy Jeff. And it was from Shannon White, who fosters with many of the rescues, including Flagler Humane, dogs, cats. She's all animals. She's in Bunnell. Wonderful person. But anyway, she texted me later that day. She goes, I hope you weren't offended. I said, that was the best laugh I've had in years. And as a matter of fact, it's
your new name.
That's it. I loved it. Yeah.
Well, I know you mentioned, Paws of Anarchy. And I know when you first said that to me, you know, I'm looking at the, the word anarchy, and I'm like, I don't know, Jeff. But explain that a little bit better.
Okay.
You mean that as just
there's
the cats
nothing
being
nefarious
rebellious.
about it. Yeah. So most of the cats that I take in now, I'm fostering kittens, and every now and then, like Harry and Kara, I never had a polydactyl cat ever. These kittens, all of a sudden, I'm seeing thumbs. They're about to take over the world, and I was going to keep just one kitten, but then there was 4, so 2 got adopted, and I kept Harry and Kara. I'm so glad I did, because they chase each other all over, and they're actually making the older cats that aren't too sick, younger, and they're playing.
Cool.
But so Paws of Anarchy was basically a tribute to the cats that I have, because they're older, they're set in their ways, and some of them are rebellious. I had a couple that the owners had passed away. They're senior cats. They did not do well in kennels. They would swat at you or hiss. They only wanted you to pet them when they wanted to, because they were sad. And actually now they're turned into beautiful house cats. I have one feral that had CH. We don't have the time to explain that disease, but it's the drunken cat syndrome, where they wobble. I had trapped that for some people here in the ER section, thinking there was a trauma. And it wasn't. After we had x-rayed and, just the exams and the blood work and everything, it turned out it was CH, mild CH, but no way would she have done well in the wild. Yeah. But she was so feral, I couldn't get as close as I am to you without her lunging at me and wanting to kill me. Took a year. She's the sweetest house cat now. But again, so they all have that other side, that personality. And I wanted to appeal to the rebellious side, half-heartedly, because everything I do, in case you haven't noticed, is joking. I'm going to digress again. It's what I do. My father had instilled in me certain words of wisdom when I was much younger, decades and decades and decades ago, for those of you that can't tell. Anyway, he said, and it's kind of a parody of another cliche, age-old saying. And he says, if you can't, impress anybody with your brilliance, no, not what you're thinking. He said, leave them laughing. And so, I said, that's pretty good. Yeah, because I've met some people in my life. I've been fortunate to some very, very intelligent people. And I'm sitting there going, what am I doing here? What am I going to say? I'm going to be an idiot. So I just tell them a joke. Hopefully they'll laugh. Sometimes they don't, and it's worse than they're going, this guy, what's, you know. But anyway, so that's why I joke about things. We were going to talk about, so how I got involved with cats. One of my fiancés I had big dogs when I was younger. When I was a child, we had beagles. And then when I was living upstate New York in New Paltz, which Mark can relate to, I was in the mountains of upstate New York. I had a Samoyed. And then after the Samoyed, I had a Malamute. So I always had big dogs, and I just didn't know anything about cats. It wasn't that I had anything against them. I just didn't know. So one of my fiancés, and again, I can't remember which one, introduced me to cats, and I fell in love with them right from the start. And shortly thereafter, another fiancé drove tractor trailer with me coast to coast. We would go New York to California every week, and I took the cats with me. As a matter of fact, the last cats that went in the truck with me, I got this little ginger tabby, TC, in New Jersey, and only about 9 weeks old, 10 weeks old. I'll put a picture up on Flagler Humane's page, too, if anybody is interested and wants to see that. But anyway, we get out to California, and I'm loading up lettuce to bring back to New York. I go to get my paperwork at the shed. So remember, I'm on the opposite coast, and I'm like, how did my kitten get out of the truck? I turn around and look at the truck, and Carol, my fiance at that time, had TC in her hands, and I'm looking, and I look down. So I pick this kitten up, and I look at her, and she was shocked too. The woman at the office said there had been a litter, 2 got run over, the mother got run over because it was right by truck traffic by the highway, and a couple had been adopted. She says, this is the last one. I'm saying, even back then, I go, oh, I can't leave this kitten. So I look over at her, and I did, one of these. I keep forgetting we have the camera. And she goes, yeah. And those two hit it off. You would think they were from the same litter. That's why I'll put the picture up for you.
That's sweet.
But so they rode with us back and forth for years, coast to coast, until I, came off the road. But that, was just more of my love affair with cats. I had them night and day with me, and I just think they're wonderful souls. I learned early, and this is all I'm going to say about that, at an age when I was a teenager, that you can't save a lot of human souls no matter how hard you try for various reasons. So I then decided I want to save, as many cats as I can, rescue, not go buy a cat or, like buy a dog. And that's only increased in my later years. Approaching the final years of my life, I realized that I enjoy their company. I prefer their company to a lot of the discourse out there right now. We'll put it that way, where people just are angry, all the time. Everybody's angry. These cats.
Yeah, look at them. They're you couldn't get a more beautiful kitty. And remind everybody their names, because we're going to tell everybody they're up for adoption. Right?
Indigo. And Ladybug. Now, Ian is already spoken for, but Ladybug and Indigo are available, and if they go, I have lots more, as well as Flagler Humane.
We have lots more.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to take another break. We'll be right back. And we are back to Speaking of Animals. I'm Amy Cartenuto here with Cat Daddy Jeff and 3 beautiful feline co-hosts. I do want to mention something we have coming up August 26th. We have a Yappy Hour, and it's going to be at the Good Times Dog Bar, which is a super cool place.
Yes,
First time we've mentioned dogs in this whole show. We don't want the dogs to feel left out. So, yeah, Yappy Hour, August 26th. From 5 to 7 p.m. at the Good Times Dog Bar in Flagler Beach. It's the really coolest place. If you have a dog, you've got to go check them out. But this particular Yappy Hour is $20 per person. You get food and drinks, and you can bring your pet, and it's going to be a lot of fun. So check that out on flaglerhumanesociety.org website. But before that, we have another event. Thanks to Cat Daddy Jeff. We are going to have Coffee with the Cats, August 17th, right?
Yep, Sunday. That's Sunday from 12 to 3. And basically, very quickly, the way that came about, we were exploring how we could go about getting a cat cafe in Palm Coast and doing the due diligence and looking at the initial startup costs, the permits, on and on and on. It wasn't realistic, but Amy graciously said, listen, let's do this together, and we can do it in the education room. People will have the chance to see cats free roaming. They can go in the cattery and say, look, I like this cat, or I'd like to see the personality of this other cat. Bring them into the education room, and you'll see them not just depressed behind a plexiglass, not knowing what's going on. They'll interact with you. That being said, the Yappy Hour, you can't get a better time for $20 anywhere. But I do want to stress, we are free admission. So unlike a cat cafe that has to charge because they need to cover expenses somehow, even just to break even, which is what they're trying to do, just come on down, have coffee. We're going to have donuts.
You're buying, right?
It's on me. And
donuts and
my cats today said, hey, we're not impressed, but, I said, hey, I'm paying for everything. And they go, you better bring good treats home for us, not this cheap stuff, buddy. And I am cheap. So take advantage of me. But you also have a chance. Just come on down. Even if you're not looking to adopt, you may be surprised, but also just come down, have some laughs, have some coffee, and talk with other people that love cats.
Yeah,
that's really
like-minded animal people. That's always
souls.
That's always a good gathering, and we do have a lot of those 98 gorgeous cats from the one case, plus a lot of other cats, kittens, and like you say, we'll be able to have a lot of them out, or we've got those big.
The pens.
They're 4x4 pens, but we've doubled them up, so they're like 4x8 pens that have a lot of the cats in them, so you can go in with the cats.
Right. And we might get you adopted. You never know. And listen, if you want your husband neutered, here is the perfect opportunity, I'm telling you.
We can do this.
Yeah, but you're going to have to donate to Flagler Humane for us to do that. It's not free.
So, yeah, again, like Jeff said, the August 17th gathering is free, so just come in to the shelter. We'll also let you walk around and see the dogs as well, and a few other things, a couple of rabbits here and there we've got right now. So
it's all about the animals, all the animals.
Yeah, just come out, get some coffee and refreshments on Jeff, right?
Yeah. How often? Well, if you knew me, and I hope you get to know me. I'd like to meet you, but yeah, it doesn't happen that often.
But check out all of our events. Like I said, go to flaglerhumanesociety.org. Also, hopefully, you follow us on Facebook and Instagram and all of that good stuff. But definitely come by the shelter. We're open 7 days a week. Mondays and Fridays we're open till 7. All other evenings we're open till 5. So come see us. And Jeff is half the time you're there.
Yeah, you'll see me there. Trust me. Like Amy will tell you, you're going to want to get rid of this guy. But you'll get to know me. And I hope to get to know you too.
Well, thank you everybody for listening. And we will see you next week.